Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on the SortTables data viewer, and one of the things we're doing is converting our database setup, I guess you'd say, configuration from a class-based to a struct-based set of objects, and that's database selection. And we want to continue pushing that struct-based object through and see if we can eliminate the class-based ones entirely. I think I'm hoping it takes less than a week, but I suspect it'll take more than a session. So we'll see. All right. So this is the database selection represents the selected tables and the joins that we have. Okay. And we had various missions that we said these are things we could do to try and break apart the old usage in a kind of piecemeal way. So one thing was make the open database call take a database selection as well as a database view model, and then use that, and we'll see what's left. Another one is make the database selection able to create the working schema, which is sort of the working schema is the part used by the actual sort table stuff in the background. Right now, database view model creates that. And then we could make database selection able to be the memento because it's got just pure simple data. All right. And I think we'll take this first one first. How can I summarize that? Well, we'll just take a piece of it. Okay. All right. So, sorry, let me get this straight over here. All right. Let's find that open database call. I think that's I really don't remember where it is. Okay, open database. I know we have one in the controller. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. All right, let's shrink this and shrink this. Oops. Okay, Open Database Swift UI. That may be it. Takes the database view. Well, it eventually gets to here. Open Database View. This has the database selection and this call. Open Database. Right. Okay, so, when you get down here, Open Database View Model, well, the thing we're doing is this working schema, and we're not using that view model for anything else, just the name. Well, that's about it. Okay, so I guess this maybe pushes us back towards, well, we can pass the selection in, but it doesn't have the information now. All right, and this is used in multiple places. Okay, Open Database View does have a selection. Open Database. Configure Database View has a selection. And Open Database Configuration. I wonder if this is the one that's no longer called. Let's see who references this. Table controller, Open Database Controller. Database Controller. Well, I don't know what that is. Is that this? a label, and a text field. Well, that one, calls open database configuration. I don't want to break things while we go, surprisingly. I'm, well, this is the one that's calling. And that's calling. All right. Have we just not specified enough? Well, somewhere, open database configuration has the config file name. It opens the file name and then attaches the model to it. Okay. And so I'm going to say, this may be a diversion, but if DatabaseViewModel and DatabaseSelection are based off that same data, it seems like you should be able to convert one to the other. Right, there's the database config memento. We can get that from there, but we can't get, or how do we get a database selection? See, he's got two memento, but he doesn't have from memento. Now we had something that, let's see, let's look for this thing. Was it this? Well, maybe we just have to have from memento. And I think it's gonna go away. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of work for this that we don't want to touch just yet, but I don't want to break it either. So this is the challenging part of refactoring. We want to build this path that is safe for everybody, and the problem we have is we're a table controller. We're trying to redo open database, but it's got several callers. 3 of them have selections, 1 of them doesn't. So we're going to make that one add a selection in so it can get it from there. All right. So we'll add a new first step. Give database selection a fromMemento method. And then we need to use fromMemento it's not database configuration, it's in the table controller. Wherever that got to. Well, I guess it was down here. Open database configuration. Okay. Table selection was something else than a list of names. It could be table names with a selected flag. I think it is now, isn't it? Did we keep losing it? Database selection. Okay. Because it's tables, because with the reference stuff, we had to put the tables in whether or not they had their flag on. So if they're used anywhere, unless I'm at the wrong place to you, but table selections got the include flag too. So I think we have what we need. All right, so let's do that. Give database selection a fromMemento method, and we have a test for database selection. Let's see, I got to learn how to do this consistently. It's like control, command, up arrow twice. Gets over to the tests. Well, excuse me. Well, let's includes name and tables. I think we can be similar to this. I don't think we have a good initializer for this. All right, we'll just defaults to empty. Database name, table names, selected columns. Well, we can use the same name in two. I'm going to leave off effective table names. I don't think we're doing anything with it. Filtered into the memento. Yeah, the memento only contains the table names. but it's names that have selected flag or participate in a join. Let's see. That would probably be database selection, I guess. Yeah, so this was this visible tables union with the join tables. So we include the ones that were included plus any that participate in the joins. That was to get rid of that bug where if you deselected the whole join table, then it didn't show up and the join couldn't happen. So this took care of that. All right, but I think we just need database name, table selections, and join. All right. And Memento joins, well, if we remember how that ugliness worked, it was strings of table numbers written as decimals. Let's say C1 equals table 2, C2. Okay. I think that sets up that. And now we want to say, I guess it's kind of a constructor, right? So we currently have an implicit init. And then we're going to make a new one. Let selection equal database selection from Memento. And then we're going to do some asserts. All right, and then I don't know. This is, and I just read Kent Beck's article on what's TDD really, right? We start off with some test cases, test case ideas, which we kind of keep in our to-do list a little bit. I don't know if I'm as strict as he tends to be on that, but then we go through, create the test, and start making things pass one at a time. I think I'm going to do that in one go here. I'm going to have the setup the way I want it and the call, but I'm just going to pull in the pieces one at a time. So we can get the mechanism for database selection. And I could write a test that says Memento. I could write one that says Memento includes database name, Memento includes table names, and Memento includes selected columns. But I'm going to write it all in one big blob. I'm going to make the test show up in one big blob, even though we're going to make it pass a little bit at a time and extend the test. So it's a little variation. Yeah, if it's not TDD anymore, okay, whatever. Let's see. Network. Whoops. Yeah. Good luck. All right, I'll let you do that on the side. Okay, so this doesn't compile because database selection doesn't know how to build from a Memento yet. I'll probably learn to spell that word before we're done. Okay, and this should fail. Whoops. We're getting that again. Okay. And the test should fail. So good. All right, because it doesn't record the name yet. So let's get that in there. Then we'll add the next assertion. Well, selection dot table selections. Wow, that's going to be fun. I don't know if they have equatable on them. Is this equatable? Not really. He could be. Metadata is too much, probably. Oh, no, he's equatable too. All right. Well, we'll write the test and then let it go. Let's do table selection sub-0. And then table metadata may not be available. Table selection with metadata. Well, it seems like it should be. Okay. All right, I'll stay out of the network discussion, I think. Okay, let's see. So I don't see the issue of including that in here, against including it. Can I convert? Well, yeah. Whoops. Okay, T1 has columns, C1. All right, and it requires conforming to equatable, which I think we'll get for free. Okay, let's see if these get included. Okay, index area out of range because we don't put anything in there. All right, so our table selections. Now, we can't, I guess all we can know is that they are selected. I don't think we have the identical information. That's a little weird because we keep track of selected tables. And database configuration does not. It just assumes they're all tables. It does no selected columns. So I guess if you have no selected columns, you're not selected. All right. Well, let's go on from there. We'll have to do some work from here. Okay, so what we have is, let's get config.memento up here. All right, let's put that up here. Get database selection over here. All right, so we took care of format, sorry, that's done by default, database name. Now we're trying to get table names. But I think what we have to do, we have to produce table selection. So we're going to have to go through, I think we're going to have to take zip of table names, memento dot table names, and memento dot selected columns. And we're going to want to store that into table selections. Okay, so if we zip those together, then we get I guess we'll map it because we want one table selection for every table that's mentioned. Okay, map. And then the map is going to take table and columns and do something with it. Okay. And what it's going to do is produce a table selection with metadata. Table metadata. The table is table. The columns are columns. Okay. Now, let's see. Yeah, can't just put out an article today about here's what I mean by TDD, and if you're complaining about TDD and you're not doing these things, then you're not being fair to it, basically. So yeah, maybe certainly the way people describe things gets pretty broad. I've heard lots of stuff called TDD that I would never call it that, but okay. All right, so we've got the table names, we got the columns. We're going to throw that into metadata, and then I think our table selection, I think what I want to say is if you don't have any selected columns, I think if you don't have any affected selected columns, you are in fact not an included table. I don't know if that's better or worse. Maybe it's not enough to matter at this point. All right, I think this is enough to pass our test. Okay, so I'll go with that. Okay, good. All right. There's our test. I don't know. It's largish, but last we need to assert on the joins. So, and it's selection dot joins. Well, let's count. Should be equal to 1 because we had one join up here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this other one too. Assert that the table count is right. I don't know. I could make one line assertion about that. Maybe that'd be better. But, okay. And then this. You must have selected tables or selected columns or both. Yeah, if you don't have any, you'll get nothing. I guess the case I'm wondering is if you've, well, because our table selection keeps track of whether a join table is included or not, but when you're getting it back from the memento, I don't see how you know that. Except that the selected columns of the join table are not visible. So I think you can still reference it, but not have it. Let's see. I guess I got to look at join. Okay, it's, well, he gets a UUID, gets scoped column. Okay. Column 1. Okay, the UUIDs we won't know, of course. The table, well, no, I should be able to do that. Column 1 should be, oh, maybe not. Scoped column. Well, I guess I can make this equatable too. Table and column. And our join was T1 0 and C1. And then let's look at column 2. I think that's how we defined our joins, right? Yeah. Okay, this one should be T2 and C2. Okay, that test will fail. Okay, yeah, so there's no joins, so this line actually probably failed before we got here. All right, database selection. Okay, and we haven't not done the joins, which this is, it's goofy. Okay, joins equals, well, we got to take the memento joins and then those have to be mapped join parts. That's the table with the 4 entries. Okay, and then we want to make one that is all right, we're going to make a join. Well, let's do the columns separately. Let column 1 equal, okay, it's a scoped column, table and column. Okay, the table, we have the index of the table, the numeric index. Yeah, so we got to get that index back to a table name. It's, well, it's table, sorry, it's join part sub 0 is a string, and let's just say there's a toInt function. We'll fix that in a moment. Okay, and then I'll do the easy one here. Join part sub 1. All right, this is table names, do we call it? Memento table names of that. Okay, so we have to get the find the table index, convert it to an int, use that int to get the table, the specific table name, and then that. And I really do want to change that, but another day. Okay, and then let's just make a little private func to int. Yields an int. I guess it should take a string. All right, and we're going to take, I forget, does int have a constructor for this? Int. Text s, okay, and I'm sure it defaults the radix. Int of string, I don't know what it does with an error. Yeah, well, we're gonna let it go. We'll just take this otherwise. All right. Ugh. And then the very similar column 2. This is 2, and this is 3. And then we're going to return join of column 1. I think it probably wants the names. No? Okay. I don't know. A little bit of a leap. Okay, not bad, I guess. All right. Now I think that leaves the case we were talking about before, though. If the join uses a table that has no selected columns, it really should be turned off. So let's deal with that case. I don't know. I kind of feel like this is going away, but it's going to be it's going to be a little while before it does. So let's not let ourselves be shot in the foot till then. Okay, so let's do func test from memento with with join table How about not shown join table? I don't know, non-visible maybe. It's not invisible. It's because it's not there. All right. And the setup is somewhat the same, but the assertions will be different. Let's add T3 and use T3 some column. Okay, so selected columns, the visible columns, we still need an entry for that table, but it's empty. All right, now the construction's the same. And the assertion is, well, assert false. Okay, if we take selection dot tables sub 2 dot no. Well, let me break it up. Okay. Let table selection equals selection dot table selection sub 2. Make sure his type is what I think it is. Table selection. Okay. False table selection dot includes table. Okay, because he has no columns mentioned, we don't want to include him. Well, I don't think it's an exception. It's an unusual situation, but it's not exceptional. It's just a variation. I mean, even though I did screw it up the other day, but screwing it up was a reflection that we weren't. It kind of was from the changed approach to naming the tables, that they do still count, even if they're adjoined. So I think it'd be better to make sure it's there, just to kind of, if I save a configuration with joins in it, I want that configuration to include the joins, but not include the columns that it doesn't expose. And I don't want that to be an issue for us. I want to just kind of do this once and say we're done with that piece. Even if we throw it away at some point, that's okay. But I think this will fail. Yeah. All right. And I think that's from what we need to do in database selection. Let's let table selection equal this. And then if, let's make it a var. If columns dot count is 0, which is really columns dot is empty. Table selection dot toggle table. Okay, now columns we don't have to worry about because they don't get mentioned if they're not used, so that's okay. But I think we've covered this case here. If there's no columns shown, it must have been a relation table. So we want it there, but turned off. Okay, let's see if I spit it out. Tooks96, welcome back. Okay, so I think what we've done is we've at least hopefully successfully, but we believe we've correctly converted we can convert from a memento to the selection object we want. All right, so give database selection a constructor that takes a database config memento. Seems fast today. Okay. All right. And let's go back to to-do. My test list or idea list is getting kind of big there, actually, isn't it? What is this? The 11th. Okay. And oh, I haven't got reconstituted yet. I guess this has to be that. I don't know why that's displaying. I guess you know what I was reading now. Okay, all about hidden operations. Okay, and we'll close this. I still don't have my keynote. More database selection. Yeah, if you're asking me, yeah, I worked in Java backend at some points in my career. I don't know about Mudshark. I don't feel like Java frontend ever really took off too much. There's bits of it, but there's a lot more backend stuff. Okay, use fromMemento and table controller open database configuration. All right, getting a lot of stuff up here. Let's pull it over as we mention it. I don't think that one counts. Okay, open database configuration. We got the opened model. I mean, we certainly could create a database selection. Is database selection of opened model dot configuration. Okay, that won't break anything because it's UI stuff. And it's not used. That's okay for the moment. All right, we're just kind of putting things in place. How about you, Tux? Is that what you're working in? Oh, you got to choose. I'm not sure I'm the person to ask that one. And they're both somewhat more mature technologies at this point. So it's hard to know on that end. But to me, the reality is, whatever you pick, 5 years from now, it's going to be different anyway. So at some level, I'm not sure it you can tell. But I mean, I certainly see more Java posts, you know, job job openings than I do Swift ones. Somebody went through the Dice ones the other day with a group I'm in, and there's thousands of Java ones, and it's pretty hard to beat that on that front. But I don't know, the market is so. I mean, so many people have been laid off lately and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to know what right the right one is. Yeah, I mean, I feel like what I've liked, I've gotten stuff to do stuff that I liked as well enough, and not always loved, but I don't know, it's. I mean, I was super into compilers when I finished school and I went and worked for a company doing that stuff, that. So I guess in that sense, it was what I loved. Um, I worked for a consultant for a good number of years, and there it's more like the part I love is meeting new people and learning new technologies and stuff like that, and just kind of working with teams and the technology they always chose, but it let me work with different domains and different things, which I find interesting. I did a bunch of stuff in publishing and a bunch of biology stuff and a bunch of this and a bunch of that. Um, so it I don't know, it all comes around. I know if I just invested in Apple when it was down to not $10 a share and Ford when it was at two, I'd be much richer than anything I could do in my career at this point. But unfortunately, that's backwards looking. All right, I think I'm losing my cursor. Yeah, you there? Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, whatever you choose, you know, it. I don't know. It's tough. Can learn both, and then sometimes you're there in one situation and the company's trying to switch to something else, and you're there ready to say, hey, I've been working on Swift or whatever. um yeah, hard to know. I mean, follow your heart. You can go pretty far down that path, and it can be a tough path. I've got a lot of musician friends, and in a lot of ways they're following their heart, and they're getting by, but it's not easy. um I think as developers, we're generally much more privileged in some ways on that. Most of what we do is somebody wants to pay for something. But I don't know. I mean, my non-career part of me, in some sense, I mean, I'm trying to use this session as help me learn Swift and explore design ideas and all that stuff. That's on my time. I'm semi-retired at this point, so uh, you know, I was not getting paid for my Swift. I don't know if I ever did. I had a couple things where I thought it would come up and just sort of incidentally working with some teams that were mobile, but not really sitting down and doing Swift except on my own. Yeah, such real things, come, I don't know, the companies I've been with, they're not like we're a Java company. I did meet one that was like, oh, we're a C# company and we're converting everything to C#. It's like, my goodness, that's a lot of work just to be able to say we're a C# company. It's like, really, you're taking a big Java app and converting it to C#? I don't see the payoff in that. They're too similar. Yeah, I teach sometimes and I'm writing, but I'm not working with teams at this point. More exploring design and digging out of the holes I dig with it, or the holes I make. Okay, let's see. So now I think we're ready to do the open database part. Okay, we use fromMemento there. Oops, go over here. Get this right to give us a chance. Okay. All right, so open database, taking a database selection as well as a view model. Yeah, I enjoy Swift a lot. I've been doing these sessions. I guess I was doing it even when I was working some, but for the most part, in the last few years, when I've picked my own stuff, I've mostly done Swift. I've done some Elm, some Java, but yeah, mostly Swift. It's gotten to be a pretty good sized language with a lot of stuff to know, which I don't necessarily consider an advantage, but I think it's pretty good. Overall, and I think also like with Swift UI, there's UI stuff I've done in that I'm sure I would not have ever like I would never even try and tackle it in Java or something, Kotlin or Java. And I do that and I get some nice looking graphics and it's like, oh, this is great. And much more satisfying than my experience with Java graphics, which I have done at various points. All right. Let's find our open database. That's on table controller, which I don't see. Table controller. Okay. Now, open database, that's this one. All right. So what I want to do, find a selected symbol. There's only 3 usages, and I want to pass in a database selection. Now, unfortunately, my tool doesn't let me do that directly or easily, but we'll do this. It'll warn us. Okay. And the selection is database selection. And okay. There may be tests for that. I don't think so because that's like in that user interface area, and it's also UI kit stuff. Um, all right. All right. So the question is, at this point, we have a database view model, we have the database selection that corresponds, and we want to use the view model to create the working schema because that's the only thing that knows how at this point. Okay. Let's go look at that. Okay, so that's on database view model. It walks through the active tables, walks through the active joins, and spits out this stuff. So the flip I'm going to make, and we'll have to manually test this because I don't think that will. UI tests aren't testing this open database section. Okay, so what I want to do, I'm going to say let model equal, and then we're going to go the other way just to get that stuff. I mean, we're going to fix it shortly, but the database config memento is going to come from our selection. Selection dot to memento. Okay, so now we're passed in a database model, but we're do I want to deal with that? Well, what I was trying to do is create a new one that only used the selection. But I wonder. Now let's go to the selection. No, view model. This does not throw. So the try is only because of the complexity of that. Okay, I'm going to switch gears again. Sorry. Rather than create a second model and use that, and then I would get rid of the first one, we're going to see if we can add the working schema method over on our selection. Okay, so sad the Swift not used outside iOS development performance. Yeah, I've heard of some groups using Vapor a little bit, but they're all like iOS groups. I haven't heard of any non-iOS groups that bought into it. Understandably, in a way, but yeah, it's just so hard to know. But I'm sure there's some, that everything out there gets used by somebody for something, but that's not necessarily how you want to choose kind of a major career direction for the next few years. I don't know. I mean, are you connected to iOS communities to see what jobs are out there for things? Oh, cool. I mean, I know you can, hit the job sites and maybe LinkedIn, see what kind of stuff is out there. I know there are iOS sites that I follow, but they don't seem to have. They have some jobs, but not tons. But it might be worth connecting in and just kind of getting a sense of are there places that have it, Sorry, C sharp. It's a pity it's not used more, or that it's. Okay. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Okay. Take a database selection. We did that. And we're just finding this path. Take a database selection as well as view model, use it as much as possible. I guess that's going to be a later issue. Maybe make it able to create the working schema. Okay, so database selection. Let's get that over here. And database view model. Okay. So well, that stuff's not done. Working joins, walks through the tables, walks through the joins, and then builds this working schema. That's not a tough thing to do. Let's find a test for this. If there is one, I think there should be. Huh. There is not. Does it? Let's try that. I don't know, that was off. I'm going to find his, oops. Tests. Oh, okay. Let's take these tests as models that we can use. In database selection. A lot of Java jobs, only 3 companies using iOS native. Yeah, that makes it sound a lot riskier to me. I mean, I'm in the US and, there's pretty much a lot of either kind of job. Yeah. Okay, let's see what these tests look like. So we create a model, we assign a database, we set some active tables, we build schema, header email. Oh, this is a predefined database. Also deactivated for this purpose. Okay, so we actually, this was not really a unit test, it's setting up an actual database, putting it in memory. That feels... I think we can, our stuff is simple enough to set up that maybe we can just do that directly. Okay, so let's test nose working schema. Maybe a better name, but let the selection equal database selection. Right, and then we set these fields. We'll start simple. Okay, and then the schema. Okay, that's undefined yet. Yeah, Java and C# are so similar. It's not a biggie. Okay, no method. But if it did, we want to make sure it has one header. Well, I think we want to have two headers here. Boy, I tell you, I loved working with Kotlin. It was a far, far better Java than Java at this point. You know, yeah. If I mean, and I do see places that are switching to using mostly Kotlin. But I really like that much more than working with Java these days. It does have a lot of similarities to Swift, and it's just a nicely done language. All right. Okay, so let's get this schema working schema method in here over here. I don't know what else I got to do. Oh, spell mount. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to try and return minimal thing. I think it wants tables with an empty list. Yep. Okay, I think that'll work. To get our test running anyway. That's a good question. Oops. Okay. Well, yeah, because there is no header at this point. All right. Stop that. Yeah, it has tests. So once we have it, but I think those tests are more. Well, there's one going for the the SQL that gets generated. Active data query. Yeah, I think they seem to all be more, how do you select stuff from, given the working schema, what's the actual selection side. So the working schema knows how to work with tables and how to compose queries and all that stuff, and that's what the tests for it are doing. Okay, but this, all right. So we know the database name. Let's let tables. Well, I'm going to go back to here. What are we doing to get the tables? Well, we're mapping them to working table subindex. We may find out there's more going here than I knew about. There's the subscripting table index, table subindex. Okay, so each of these is a table view model. What's there? I'm going to go back to here. Okay, so we take element is a working table model. What was it? Sorry, element. Okay, this is one element. Dot working table. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to go back from here again. We're going to take each working table, each table view model contains what's should have an array of something. Tables, metadata tables. Selected table. Okay, so he's got this. He calls working table with index. Gets the selected table, the selected columns with the selected column indexes. And I guess this gives it an index. So the index we're passing in is the one we want assigned. All right. So here, well, let's take our table. We're going to have to map our tables, right? That seems Seems somewhat clear to me. Table selections dot map. Okay, we got a table selection, and we got to produce a whatever working tables wants a working table. Table, columns, and index. Okay, so let's do this dot enumerated. And then we want working table. Table is table selection dot table. The columns are something, and then the index is index. Where does it use the working table columns? That is, let's see, the table controller uses them. So when you have the schema, it basically knows which columns do you fetch out of the database for that, and then the on-demand table, that's basically the caching for it, and then you put it in the outline and column swapper, which is the sort of model side of our sort table views, that we can swap columns by dragging, and we can get an outline when we show them. So I don't know, maybe the step's too big. SQL columns. Well, it's table selection dot columns. I don't think that's enough information for SQL columns. Oh, it is. Okay, good. All right, we're getting close. Okay, so this is return. Working tables takes the tables and no joints. We'll take that off. All right. So I think that may be enough to make our test pass. Oops, database name will be wrong, but the table should be there. All right. So, oh no. All right. So our first test, we create a database name. How is that right? I don't believe it. Oh, we didn't assert on it. Yeah. Not being consistent in my asserts anymore. Let's swap these two. All right, database name is wrong. Yeah. Okay. This should come from database name. Good. Okay. All right. So what we've done is we've given a working schema method to database selection and made it work for the simplest case. All right. Okay, well, let's take a break. We'll take 3 or 4 minutes and come back and continue working on these test cases that the ones we copied, make sure we've covered all the cases they covered. I can see we haven't worried about the unjoined tables yet. All right, so see you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we want to find out, we want to make sure we're covering the cases that we covered before, at least. So far, we've got the database name, the headers, which is the columns from the table. Let's see what else schema has. Yeah, working schema. Okay, so it's got the database name, the tables, and the joins. We haven't addressed the joins. The headers, that seems to come from there. The query stuff, that's tested by working schema. Okay. So I think we're okay on the table side, but we haven't tested a case with joins. Okay, so this one creates a database model, manipulates the indexes and makes sure that the one it finds in the schema header is valid. So that we covered. Excuse me. Working schema with unjoined tables. Well, that's kind of what our example was too. Sorry. All right, but then the joined tables. Let's see. So we're adding a join. Well, that's a pretty minimal test of it. Let's do that though. Let's say for single table. All right, we'll take a database, the name we don't care about so much. I won't assert on it. Let's put in a couple tables though. Well, let's put in 3. Okay, column 1, column 2. Let's get table 2 in here. And I think we can, let's make it a little more realistic looking. Person with ID and name. A session with ID and Name again. Let's see. Class name. This is attended. I suppose session name would be more in keeping with it. All right, so we've got those, and then we need to do some joins. Table selection. Oops, it's just selection. Okay, so the table is, well, I'm going to put 2 joins in. Column person ID equals okay, we'll just join one side. I guess I want to see the join. I'm not going to worry about the other table. Okay, so I will make sure well, I'm not sure how to best go after this. Maybe I better make it legal. Okay. Now, the way it is now, we got all columns in there. I guess I'm going to pull out this one. There's the relation dot toggle table. And then let's put this in as relation. Okay, so we're excluding the metadata table. We're going to have 4 columns in the result. Okay, and then, well, the simplest assertion, let's start there. Schema dot joins better have 2. Okay. Okay, so I create a database selection. We fill in the database name. We create a relation table that is excluded from being visible. And we put person, session, and relation in. Then we create a join from our attended table to person and another one from attended to session. Build a schema, and then the counts should be 2. And we'll assert the contents shortly. Okay, well, this one's not happy. 6. So we probably got our relation table in there as well. And then this one probably came back 0. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, well, I guess we got a problem here. So we're getting that table in. So I think there's 2 things. One is we're including all the columns on a table that is not selected. So we need to make that decision. And the other is we don't do joins yet. Okay, so let's fix the table situation first. This one is table selection dot table included. Includes table. If it does, okay, let's format. Okay, and like I mentioned, I kind of like doing this. It's kind of a non-standard thing. I don't know why, because I think it communicates better, but otherwise empty. Oh, I gotta move it inside. Okay. Okay. If it includes the table, then use its columns, otherwise empty. Let's make sure that fixes the one part. Okay, we got the first one, but not the second. Good. All right, and now we want the joins. Let working joins equal. Let's go see working schemas, table of working joins. Okay, so if we take our joins and we map them, okay. Working joins. Right. Okay, so we got to convert this to a working join. Let's go see it. And please, working column. Are you going to be indexes? No, he's names. Good. There's a lot of, I don't know if this is creating separate layers, but I mean, a name in a table seems very similar to what we have already. Okay. That's a working table. All right. Okay, so this should be working join. Working column. The string is the column name, so that is join dot column to dot column. Now this, I don't remember working tables. Did they, oh, these don't look equatable. Nor do these. But the join, interestingly, working join. I wonder what they do with working columns. A lot. All right, so we got to get the working column, working table for this thing. Well, I think that's keyed off these table names. Yeah, I got to map it back again. Well, I think what I'm going to do is create them. Well, I wonder. Yeah, I think that's what I should do is let's, okay, so we got the tables here, and then what I need is I need to be able to get from a table name to the working table. So let's map those. Name to working table equals, I wonder if I can just create, let's see what Swift does. Is that a map? I wonder if there's a constructor with that takes a field that I can use to turn it into a map or something like that. Whoop, this is the other map. Is it dictionary? I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, grouping by. No. Key value pairs. Okay, should be able to do that. Key value pairs in a sequence. Okay. Is the index the same as in working tables? Yeah, I think they've got to be the same because working table takes this index. So um, I think that's okay. Let's let's I don't know. This is table sequence is let's take tables dot map to, okay, and I'm going to turn it into a pair, which is $0 dot table and $0. Okay, so I'm taking each name which yeah, I think that's the thing to do. Okay. The table and map that. All right, and then let's put this inside. So this is name to working table equals a dictionary, keys and values, unique keys with values. Being this map. Now I don't know why I didn't format that like I wanted. Tables mapping each one to the table name with this thing. All right. And then working join, working table is name to working table of column 1 dot table. Okay, well, it's not liking that. Do I think those are guaranteed? Well, theoretically, yes, they should be. And they shouldn't get in there unless there's a table to work with. So I think we can assume that's there. Do I need index to name? I don't think so. Index to name. Because I've got to get the working table itself is what working column wants. I don't know why it needs it, honestly, but that's what it wants. So the first one creates the working tables in a list, which we're going to use down here. Just pass those tables in, and then it uses that to build the name to table mapping, to name to working table mapping, so it can get to the working table for that thing again. All right, let's make sure. Yeah, I didn't think I was formatting that very nicely. I think it'll pass though. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yet. All right, let's fix the stupid formatting issue. I don't know if I can indent these three, would be nice. Okay, and I want to make my assertions tighter. And I'm just going to assert on one. Uh-oh. Person ID. Can I assume, are the sets the joins a set, or are they a list? They're a list. I'm going to fill out the rest of the assertion, I guess. Oh, no, that should be person. Attended person ID. Okay, I guess I feel better when the system knows the answer better than I do to say it. Okay, we should be mapping attended.personID to person.id. Huh. Oh, but we do column 2. I know, it's this kind of inconsistency bugs me. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I think as we go through, we're simplifying things, even though this is looking pretty complex. But I think we're about to cut out DatabaseViewModel completely. So I don't know. I'm sure we can do a better job than what I did 3 years ago, put it that way. All right. So we do that. I mean, I don't know. Is this thing getting too full of stuff? That's a pretty big job. That's a pretty big job. But I think some of those are going away. All right, but saving. Okay. Now. All right. So I think at this point, database selection can create a working schema. And then I think the deal now is we want to use database selection to open the database. Okay. Now this could be tricky. I mean, we're getting into the area where that intersection of UI and database and reality, and that's not tested directly. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, table controller asks the DB view model for a working schema. Well, we're going to change it to ask, let's ask the selection for the working schema. And ask the selection for the database name. Okay, and I'm going to check what this thing does. Delegate self, whatever. Okay. Right. So at least my hope is that we've pushed database view model out of the business. All right. Let's run the tests. I'm not sure what drove me to do indexes on the joins. I mean, frankly, in that config memento thing, I feel like we'd be better off saying, table dot column, and table and column are both strings. It seems more robust, but I don't know. We'll have to. It was on my list as a thing we could do. So, all right. So the test pass. Let's capture what we've got. Make database selection. Compute the working schema. All right. I'm pushing that even though we haven't actually run it. We've just tested it. So let's run it. Okay, this is everything. Well, I had a join. Registration class FK equals class ID. Registration person FK equals person ID. I'm going to leave everything visible just to make sure we can get to it. Oh, that seems plausible. I shouldn't feel so worried, but I do. All right, let's see. How do I? Okay, so I think I have people. Let's get this over. All right, I'm going to make this go the other way. Okay, yeah. So for this is by instrument, then by class, then by who's in that class. So that looks good. I remember that there's only one person who took the 28 tone row class, and these we should see 155 entries, 200 something. Oh no, it's more. Well, six 576. Let's put the name first. Name. Okay. I think we're still. Well, let's move time slot back in. Well, put it here. Okay, as long as each person's in a different time slot, yeah. So that's their. Well, let's put this first. Now the sorting is a little weird to me here. Oh, but it's after the instrument. Okay, let's get instrument out of consideration here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, this shows their classes. So 576 divided by 4 is 100 something. So 100 something people taking up to 4 classes. Some of them only have 3. Maybe not. No, I think they get none if they don't sign up for something. Okay. Oh no, there's some. No, it's my eyes playing tricks. Okay. Yeah, I think it looks all right. Good. And let me restart it and do a harder one. I'm glad the joins worked in particular because that seemed the most fraught. Okay, and it makes it even more apparent that they're not. It's not critical that they use the numbers. I don't know what happens with this stuff. Let me do a simple one. We'll just take the class, instrument name and time slot, no other stuff. I don't know if we will show all the fields or not. I don't remember doing anything about field selection. Yeah. I think that's a flaw in our mapping. I didn't really think about it, but I think we just take all the columns. We should only take the active columns. Where's that? Working schema. Right. This. I don't know if does it have active columns as a I thought columns for table maybe, but no. No, table selection, that's the thing. It has columns. Includes column. So we're saying if the includes table is false, we're not going to include anything. But if it's true, we ask for columns, but I think it's selected columns. Is what we want. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have this function, but I wonder who uses it, because maybe this is not a question anybody asks an individual column. Oh, the buttons need to know. Oh yeah, of course they do. Yeah. Okay, but the selected columns as the list of them. Yeah, I think maybe I should be releasing, well, it's probably got to be an array of strings, but the selected columns list sorted. Who's asking for this? Oh, it's an easy way to get to the metadata. Right, so the view asks that. Maybe it's active columns. All right, let's make our database selection. Let's make one of these columns inactive. Okay, so I'm going to add column 3. And then that adds it down here. All right, but I'm going to mess with table selection. Okay, so I'm going to turn off column 2, and then I'm saying, well, I'm saying the way we are now is we ignore that. I think this will pass, but we want to delete column 2 from line 16. Yeah, maybe visible columns. I like that name. Yeah. Huh, what do I know? Column 1, column 3 is not equal to column 1. Well, how did that get excluded? Oh. Oh, and he's not. Oh, wait. Looking at the wrong method. Database selection, not config memento. Okay. No, I don't know how it passed. Okay, we've got table selection. This one. Okay. Table selection deselects column 2. Table selection is table selection. Okay. Then we do, oh, this is to memento. Well, okay. I think it's a good test for to memento as well, but to memento works. Okay, good. Let's go test what we meant to test. Okay. I hate to get too crazy, but they're similar tests, but they're different. Okay. Non-visible columns not included. Okay. And then table selection, pull that out. Okay, and let's turn off column 1. Table selection dot toggle column C1. I'm not worrying about database name, but count should equal 1, and only C2 should be included. Okay. We create the selection. I don't know if we need that line even. Create a table selection with T1, C1, C2. Turn off C1. Throw that in the selection. Generate the schema. We should only have one column header, which should be C2 because we deleted C1. All right. This test, I think, will fail. All right. And this is a 2. Good. Okay. So database selection is supposed to be doing this. This should be visible columns, which does not exist as a method or a value on table selection, whatever that is. Okay, and I think this is okay. It's only the selected columns because we toggle them, we add them or remove them from the set, and we only want those. Okay, this should pass. Oh, okay. Okay, will it fail if we turn off a column that joins tables? Well, I don't think it will because it didn't. Oh, shoot. Okay. This count is 2. Oh, yeah, we don't. Oh, no, we did. Turn on the joins tables. Because, well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to check. All right. And I see we're running lowish on time here. All right, so this one, table selection dot visible columns. Oh, this should be 0. But that doesn't explain this one. 2 is not equal to 1. Schema.headers.count. All right. I guess I want to see, well, let's stop here on this test. Cannot find table selection. Oh, selections. Oh, it's only in here. Can I break here? Good. C2. Oh, maybe the assertion was retained. I don't know. They have a weird habit of keeping them. Okay. Yeah, I think the assertion was retained, and then when I accessed out, it kept it marked as failed here until I finished the test. I think. We'll run all one more time. Selected columns includes all join columns. I don't know. Yeah, I do not know. All right, so this one is don't show non-visible columns in working schema. Okay, I don't know the best way to check. Well, I guess let's run this and turn off a column that joins tables. All right, yeah, let's try it with an invisible. Because I don't think the join stuff is looking, but I could definitely be wrong. Okay, so let's turn off these and let's turn off this, but I can still join. Registration class F key equals class ID, and then person equals person.id. Okay, so I think this is demonstrating what you're saying. You turn off a column that joins tables. So these are all off, and I'm hoping this just works. Okay. Yeah, so I think basically columns that get named in the join can be referenced in the database code, the low-level code that generates the queries, but it doesn't need to be in the selected columns for anything. That really is only used in generating these vertical columns. So I think we're okay on that front. It's a fair question though, but yeah, that should not care whether the join references should not care, and that's why I'm so puzzled that I did the index thing. But we'll get to the bottom of it. All right. I think we've done a lot. Okay, use database selection to open the database. We've done that. Okay. That's here. All right. And now we eliminate DatabaseViewModel from openDatabase. We'll pick up there, but can we eliminate DatabaseViewModel entirely? And if we can, there's several other classes that go away with it. Huh. Yeah, it works. If you want, though, I mean, I don't think we have time to do it today, but maybe let's just do that in the test once. Add or modify test to show that join can work with non-visible columns. Okay, I think that's probably even though I think it works. The way I think it works makes it seem like it should work, and it does work. I think demonstrating that yes, it really does work with non-visible columns would be a good demonstration for that to make. And also, if we ever change stuff, it's going to be more important then too. But I think these will, and its minions. I think these will get us through a pretty good chunk of that tomorrow. I mean, I'm hoping nothing. Well, I know one thing DatabaseViewModel is used for is that join error detection. We've left that stuff out. So let's make a note there. Join error messages, e.g. What's an example? Unjoined table. Okay. So if you have 3 tables and 2 of them have a join and 1 doesn't, then you get a cross product effect, and that's usually not what we're after. All right. Well, thanks for coming today. The discussion went over all kinds of things as well as what we're doing, which is cool. This feels like a big step to me, though, that we've got it opening a database without ever looking at DatabaseViewModel, as far as I can tell. That's a big deal. That means we're going to be able to get rid of this thing, which was one of my hopes. It really does have, well, it still has that notification stuff and all that stuff that I don't want to have to do anymore. All this configuration stuff, we might be able to eliminate all that too. So this is good stuff. All right. Well, have a good evening. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern, 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC, and take care. Bye-bye.